All right, so I'll start with the definition of CorelDRAW. So what is CorelDRAW? CorelDRAW is a graphics design application. The word graphics means ability to establish communication with shapes or ability to communicate ideas with shapes and images. That is what graphics is all about. A graphic designer is someone who knows, who is creative. You cannot take creativity from graphic design. You should be able to have the ability to imagine concepts. You should be able to see the concepts before actualizing it. These are some of the attributes a graphic designer must have. So like I said, graphic design is simply communicating ideas with shapes and images. If we are to define the word graphic design, is a crafts where professionals create visual content to communicate messages. That is another simple way we can define graphic design. Now we have a lot of graphic design. We have a lot of tools that we can actually use to communicate our concepts as graphic designers. So one of the tools is CorelDRAW, which is one of the most widely used graphic design application. I am not talking about those ones that you can actually build or design with your phones. I'm talking about the main application for graphic design. Now we have CorelDRAW, we have Photoshop, but in today's program, like I said, my focus is going to be on CorelDRAW. I will not want to take much of our time. The next 1 hour, 30 minutes or 2 hours, we should have been able to round up this training. Now, another training will come up at the end of today, which will be communicated to you via the WhatsApp group. So endeavor to remain there so that you can get that update. And the person that's supposed to anchor to this class will be the one to take that part. Before I start, I would like to inform everyone here that we have a web design program coming up on Saturday. I believe that will have been communicated also. So endeavor to join that class. You learn how to code with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we'll have about 2 different instructors that will take us through that. Okay, so coming back to CorelDRAW, as you can see on the screen, this is our CorelDRAW interface. As we all know, every application software will always provide its environment for user to be able to communicate or to work around it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight some of the things you can design with CorelDRAW before I go into explaining the application structure and the features and probably their various functions. With CorelDRAW, you can design handbills, talking about flyers. With CorelDRAW, you can design wedding cards. With CorelDRAW, you can design logos. With CorelDRAW, you can design a lot of things. So everything has to do, you can design banner, you can design letterheaded paper. So there are a whole lot of things you can actually design with CorelDRAW. I can assure you, CorelDRAW is, if you know it to the professional level, is one of the, or let's say graphic design generally, is one of the aspects of IT that is actually very lucrative and that can offer you self-employed. You may not need to work for anybody. So if you follow us through to the end of the program we have for the graphic design, I believe you can start making money from your comfort zone. You can design e-flyers. You know, today we are in the world of digital marketing. You see, people no longer print much. During someone's birthday, somebody can contact you to just design a birthday flyer or handy for him to just post. So there are a whole lot of things we can do with Coreldraw. Now, going into the aspect of explaining the environment, we have the application title bar where you have the control button, just like the way we have them in Microsoft Word and other Office applications. So the buttons function still remain the same. We have this for minimizing the program, and then you can store it back from the task bar. Then we have this for restoring the interface, that is to reduce it. And then we have okay, so like I was okay, so like I was saying, so as you can see, we have the application title bar. What you can access there, you can access the name of your design, just like the way we have it in other applications. Currently, it's showing on title, which means you have not named any of your design. So let's assume that I create a rectangle and give it a color, and I want to save this. The moment I go to File and then select Save As, because I'm saving for the very first time, and then I have to choose where I want to save it, and then click on Save. So you can see this place that shows on title will have changed to the URL, that is the root directory where you actually save your design. So to interpret what you are seeing here, this is to tell you that your design is in drive C. In drive C, which is your local drive, you have your user. And then the name of the computer user is Aguero. And then you are on desktop, and then the name of your design. And then finally, the Coreldraw format, which is what CDR, that is the file extension for Coreldraw file. All right, now I was still talking about the application title bar. Now I move to the next section. The next section is the menu bar or the tab bar. So the tab bar allows user to access different tabs. And each of these tabs has different information or functions under them. If I'm to navigate through them, these are the ones you have under File. These are the ones you have under Edit, View, Layout, Object, and the rest. So on the title bar, on the application tab bar, we have this list of tabs that actually gives us access to different functions. Now I go to the next section. So the whole of this section is the standard toolbar. So the standard toolbar allows you to access most of the important instruction or command represented with pictures. As you can see, this is an icon representing a command called new. And if you want to access it through shortcut, you can simply press Ctrl+N. And then this is another function represented, which is open. and so on. So all these we are seeing they are different functions represented with icons. And then I go to the next section, which is this. The whole of this section is called the properties bar. Why is it called the property bar? You will notice that when you are working with any tool, the extension of that tool, I'm talking about additional command or function a user can access through that tool can be accessed on the application property bar. So for example, I'm on pick tool, and the work of the pick tool can be divided into 5 different functions. The first function of the pick tool is to move objects from one place to another. The second function of the pick tool is to select. To select in graphics term means what? To activate. So I can have multiple objects on my board or my drawing board. We call it paste board. Now I can also give it different. Now what I'm saying is that right now I am selecting the rectangular tool, and if you take note of what is happening here, just make sure you observe the property bar. And then let me switch from the rectangular tool to the circular shape. You will see that what the items have changed. So what it means to you is that each of the tools you are using will probably display its additional function. That is a function that can be used to modify the primary function of that tool. By default, when you pick the circular tool or the cycle tool, it gives you a complete cycle, and then you can give it color. That is what it has been programmed with by default. Now, supposing I want to change it to this shape, you can see with the help of my property bar, I've been able to change it to another shape. So I can do the same. So you can actually manipulate your objects. I can increase the line thickness of this. I can also change the line type with this, and then you can press F12 to display line property. And then the moment you hear the F12, it will prompt you a dialog box. So from this dialog box, there are a whole lot of things you can actually achieve here. So I can achieve, I want to change the line color because currently the line color is black. So what I'm trying to show you is how important the property bar is. So as a user, whenever you are using any of these CorelDRAW tools, please be mindful of the additional commands that they are bringing or displaying on the properties bar. The property bar is very, very important to every designer that uses CorelDRAW. Now, let me go to delete an object. Just select it, press the delete button on your keyboard. Now, let me go to the next section. So the next section is the toolbox, which is the whole of this. So this is where you have all your CorelDRAW tools. These CorelDRAW tools are actually designed for carrying out different operations, depending on the concepts you are trying to present. Like I told you earlier on, that CorelDRAW is a graphics program, that is a program or a software that allows you to implement your concepts. So what it means is that it starts from your brain. It starts from you. You need to think out the concept. So once you have the concept in mind, then you can now begin to look for any of these tools that can actually actualize it. So it is not enough to know CorelDRAW as a tool. Then as a designer, you also need to work on your creativity, capacity, ability to think probably what nobody most of the designs you see outside it. Okay, so I'll still explaining the toolbox. So like I said, the toolbox allow you to access all the tools. you can work with in implementing your concept as a designer. So we have the pick tool. So once I'm done with the explanation, then I will introduce us to the functions of some of these tools. Now, please kindly control your audio, please. Once you join, please turn off your audio, please. All right. So so far so good. I've been able to explain the application title bar, the tab section, then the standard toolbar, where you can access shortcuts, the property bar, where you can access additional functions relating to the selected tool, and then the toolbox, and then the whole of this is called the printable area. Why is it called the printable area? Now, in Coreldraw, when you are working, anything you design outside this particular frame, your printer, I'm talking about the office printer, will not be able to print it. But if you are printing with a plotter, talking about all these big machines they use in printing large formats like a banner, so that will not really work with this. But if you are working with office printer, then you have to make sure that your design is within the printable area. Now, every other space outside this is called the paste board. So the paste board is where you can actually do your raw design. After you have gotten what you wanted, you can now move them to probably what? The printable area. So it means that you must have created your general layout in the printable area. And then you can come outside and write and be assembling them on your printable area. Now, coming to this section, the whole of this section is called the status, the status bar. The status bar gives us information about our objects and our design. For instance, if I click on the cycle, there are a lot of updates prompted on the status bar. One of the updates is telling me the type of shape I am working with, which is what? Ellipse on layer 1, and then also giving me information about the fit color. Now, in graphic design, there are terms we use when we are referring to what? An object. An object is what you create. Now, this particular object, we have what we call the fit color. Now, once you hear the word fit color, it means you are talking about the inside color of an object. They will also have the outline. The outline, you're talking about the boundary. Now, if I zoom, that is by pressing F3 or F4. F4 on your keyboard is to zoom in, while F3 is to what? To zoom out. Now, I'm using graphic terms. Okay, so just like I was saying, so I'm still exploring the information provided by the status bar as I'm selecting this object. So this is actually giving us information about the inside color, while this is giving us information about the line color. Now, as an expert, let's assume that I want to modify the object inside color without me coming to my color palette. The whole of this is called color palette. That's where you can access different gradient color. Now, instead of me switching from one color to the other from my color palette, I can simply double click on this because I know that this represents inside color, and that will allow me to pick a color. And then I've been able to change the color from my status bar. The same thing, if I want to modify the outline color of this object, I can simply double click on the outline option, and then a whole lot of things can be done here. One, I can change the color, the line color. Of course, I'll make the line color different from the fit color. Remember, I told you in graphics, when we use the word fit, we're talking about inside. The word outline, the boundary. Now, this is the boundary color. Now, this is what we call eyedropper. This eyedropper is actually used to pick a color from another object. Now, let's assume that I want to pick this color. So I can use my eyedropper and go and click on that object. So I've automatically what? Pick that color. So I can pick the very part of it I want and then implement it. So I can go back and perform other tasks using this same outline property. So I can work on the thickness of the line. You can see that with this, you have increased the line thickness. I can also change the line style. That is, I want another line instead of the solid line. And then I can also work on other things that are important. For example, I can say, okay, I want to set the distance between the broken line. I can expand it here. I can close it up here. So just to show you that you can actually manipulate the line color or line effect of your object by just double clicking here. Then you can also manipulate the fill color of your object by just double clicking here. So that is for the status bar. Now, the number of color you have used so far while designing, CorelDRAW will be compiling them in case you want to reuse them. So that is all about the CorelDRAW environment. So now I will just quickly start explaining these tools, because as a designer, like I said earlier on, one thing is for you to develop your concept, what actually you want to do. Another thing is for you to know which of these two can actually actualize that concept. But just remember that it starts from you having a concept and then using this tool to implement it. That is why it is very important you understand the function of most of these two, if not all. So what I'm going to do in the few minutes, I'm going to be explaining the two based on how important they are. So I start with the pick tool. The pick tool has 5 different functions, and I'm going to explain them. That is, there are different 5 challenges a graphic designer could be facing while designing that the pick tool only can provide solution for. What are those challenges? Now, let's assume that I have this object here, and possibly I double click here to give it any of this color. So let me not use this color yet. Let me use this so that we can see the object very well. So the first function of the pick tool, what can a designer do with the pick tool? 1, he can select the object. If I move the object now and right click, I have duplicated it. Then if I use this, I can reduce it. So let's assume that I want to place this object inside here and then change its color. Now, what we are saying is that if I click outside, it means that I'm not selecting any of these objects. So if I attempt to pick a color here, CorelDRAW will output this, that there is no object. So before you can assign a command or an effect to an object in CorelDRAW, you must first of all select the object. That is when you need the pick tool to select the object before you can assign a command or an effect to it. So that's the first function of it. The second function of the pick tool is to allow user to increase the size of that object. There is a way I can increase the size from one end. Now, this icon you are seeing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that are around the selected object, they are called node in graphic design, N-O-D-E. What is the function of node? The node are for adjustments. That is, for you to be able to modify the object to an extent, you can use the node. Now, this node you are seeing can be classified into 2 categories. We have what we call the uniform node and the axis node. So when I say uniform node, I am talking about this, and this. You will notice that these 4 nodes that I just pointed out, they are not directly attached to the object. They are distant from the object, which means that you can use them to adjust the whole side of the object. But you can see that as I'm using it, the proportion of the adjustments on one side is different. So as a graphic designer, that can even form a shape. So that this can be a logo. But for what I actually wanted is that I want a situation whereby as I'm increasing the object, it's giving me equal size from all sides. So to do that, you hold down the shift button while you are increasing. You can see the way it's increasing uniformly just because I held down the shift button while I was I'm making that adjustment. So now the first function of the pick tool is to select an object. The second function of the pick tool is to resize an object with the help of the node. Now I mentioned 5 functions. The third function of the pick tool is all right, so I'm still on the pick tool. I have just identified 3 different functions for selecting an object, for resizing an object with the help of the node. Then the third one is for moving object from one point to another within the entire CorelDRAW publication page. Now, the fourth one is to rotate an object. But if I'm rotating the cycle, you will not really understand it. So let me create a rectangle and rotate it. Now, before you can use the last 2 functions of the pick tool, the object must be selected twice. You will notice that the first selection activated only the node. The second clicking will bring another set of icons. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are for rotation. So I can hold on any of them and rotate my object. Now, as a creative designer, you can, while you are rotating, you can right-click and that will duplicate it and give you an object. You can continue your rotation, then right-click and that will give you a duplicate. So as you are rotating, if you right-click, it will duplicate the object. So depending on what you want to achieve, actually. So that is the fourth function of the pick tool. That is for rotating the object. Now, the last function of the pick tool is what we call skewing, or to skew an object. To skew an object is actually to change the object view perspective. That is to slant it. For example, if I click on these are the skew icon, the middle ones. So you can skew from here. Look at this. Skew is different from rotation. So if I right-click, I have also duplicated an object. So I can skew again. I can skew again from this axis and go this way, and also right-click. So I've also duplicated another object. So I can select this object separately and give them different color, depending on what I want. So creativity, like I said, matters here. You should be able to see what you want to achieve before you start your design. So these tools that we are learning their function, they are only there as a kind of helping you to actualize your concept. So you start from getting the concept. Now, that is for the pick tool. Now, the second, if you click on the drop down, there are other tools. There are other tools under the pick tool. But the pick tool is the major tool. So now freehand pick is just like you are using this method. Until the entire object is highlighted, you may not be able to get the object selected. That is the reason why you depend on the main function. Then we have the free transform. So the free transform is to help you to do some of those things we're doing, like this is skewing now, and then this is rotation. So you can actually change this object perception, or let's say display or view from that free transform tool. So now that I've transformed it, I can easily, for example, now I can pick my rectangular tool. Let's say this is a table. So I can establish legs on this object. And then I can send this leg to the back. I don't want the user to see the beginning. So that will take you to order. So you can easily right-click on it and then go to object order. So from order, you say behind, then you select this object. So with that, you have automatically what? Sent the object to the back of the front object. So you can press the plus button on the keyboard to duplicate it. I can press the plus button on the keyboard to duplicate it, and then that is. Now, what I'm trying to show us here is that had it been that the rectangle was still like this, there is no way you can show this view. There's no way you can show that this is a kind of surface of an object. So that is the function of what? The pick to free transform tool. Now, I'll quickly go to the next tool here. So here we have another set of tools ranging from shape tool to smooth, smear, twine, attract and repel, smudge, ruffle. So all these are tools for achieving different concepts. So let me quickly walk us through them just to have an idea of what to do with them. Now, I will start with the shape tool, which is this. And the shortcut is what? Simply pressing the F10. Now, what is the shape tool? The shape tool is one of the most important tools as far as I'm concerned, because this tool allows us to actually change our shape from one stage to another. For example, I can use this tool to change this rectangle to a semicircle. I can change this to star. So there are a lot of things I can change this to, this shape to, with the help of what? My shape tool. But before using it on an object, you need to verify or find out the type of object you are using it on. When I said type of object, I'm talking about objects you created by yourself. For example, now I can go to Bezier tool now and do something like this. So I am constructing this shape by myself. It's different from this shape. This shape has been designed and attached to this function. What I did, I only implemented it. I am not the one that was sketched it. Now, if I select this shape with the shape tool, there is a way it's going to display. Take note of the appearance now. Now, let me click on this object. You can see the X. Look at under that arrow, you can see a shape, but you won't find that shape if I click here. The reason is that this shape needs to be converted to curve. What it means is that the whole of this shape that is made up of 4 different lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are grouped. They are not separated. That is the reason why I cannot what? Modify this shape easily, like the way I can modify this. So like this, I can just click here now and what? Change it. And if I want this section to be curved, I can right click on it and change it to what? Curve. And that will automatically create other node that I can use to what? To get a perfect curve. Now, this curve that I've applied here is not affecting the entire axis. Supposing I want to cut across the entire length, now the obstacle here is this. All I need to double click here to remove that node, and then the curve will spread across the entire length. Now, if I tap here, you will not have these different axes for adjusting it. In other words, to get the shape you need. After that, you can give it any color. Now, let me do what I did here now on this object. The only thing now, if I drag it here, you will notice it's covering the object from all axes. Though this is, this could be a shape that you're actually looking for. But if this is not what you want, that is, you want only this edge to curve without affecting this. Now, what you need to do is to tap that edge. It will automatically off the other axis. You can see that what at the moment, it is only this node that is shaded. Other ones are not what? Filled, which means that if I drag this, it's going to what? Curve only that section. Then if I want this section to curve, I'll tap it also and drag it in. So with this, I have gotten what? A shape that I can actually convert to a logo. So if I duplicate it by pressing plus, it means that we have duplicated it. And now I want to adjust it inside uniformly. meaning that I want to create equal size from all axes. Then, like I told you before, you click on one of the nodes, hold down the shift button, then drag it in. It will give you equal space. And then you release your hand, and then you can give the front shape different color from what? The back shape. And that can form a logo. Now, I'm only trying to explain the shape tool, different ways you can manipulate an object with the shape tool. That is why, to me, I see this tool as one of the tools that give me the flexibility to manipulate shape. Now, I am still on it. So I get another word, a triangle. I want to convert this triangle to a rectangle. A rectangle is a shape. It's heavy water. A rectangle is a shape with 3 sides, but the shape I am having right now is 4 sides. So as a designer, all you need to do is to delete one of the nodes or one of the axes. Once I delete one of these axes, automatically that will give me a triangle. Either isosceles word triangle or scaling word triangle. So now I go back to the word, to the shape tool. For me to delete this, I need to convert this object to curve. And to do that, you can get the command from the tab. You go to Objects, and then you come to what? Convert to curve. You can see that the shortcut is what? Control plus Q. So the moment you have converted the object to curve, then you can see that the initial node shape that I was having have changed. So now I can double click here to remove one of the node, and that has given me what? The triangle. Then I can adjust. I can double click to add another node and what? Derive another shape. I can do that also here to have another shape. So this could be a logo you are trying to what? Design. And then give it a color. Now, if I zoom this object by pressing F4 on my keyboard, or by pressing a zoom function, which is this, zoom tool. So there is a tool that can actually allow you to zoom in and zoom out. The shortcut is Z. Once you hit the Z button on your keyboard, that will automatically activate the tool. Instead of you coming here to click, you can easily press what? The Z. Now, there's a way you apply it. I told you earlier on that anytime you select a tool, always observe what is going on that very tool property bar. So there are a whole lot of things I can do here. Now, if I'm not seeing this object with the size I wanted, now I can regulate it here. I can say fit, which is the current view, with what? 41%. I can say to height. I can also change my view to what? 10%. So this will allow you to view what? Multiple objects. So I can change it to 100. Then I can also regulate it here by continue what? Clicking here. Or you continue what? Clicking here. So all these are already made or default view sizes. And as you can see, that is where I got the word, the F4 from. So if you click here, this automatically what? Display your item to that standard. If you click here, this will display to that standard, and so on. But if you don't want to use that, like I said, you can drag on the object, and that will zoom in. As you continue dragging with that tool on the object, you continue zooming in, and then when you left click, it will continue what? Zooming out. So I can continue clicking to do that. All right. So that is for the what? The shape tool. So I still want to achieve one more shape with the shape tool. Remember, all these shapes that I've derived so far, I derived them from a single shape called what? Rectangular tool, with the help of my shape tool. Now I can now hit the Control Q to convert the object to curve. Now I want a kind of semicircle. So what I'm going to do is to
is to have this, and then right click on it and select to curve, double click to remove it. Then I can click here to what? To stretch this up. Then I can double click here to remove this. So with this, I have a kind of a half of a cycle. Now, there could be a reason why you want this. So I can quickly duplicate it by pressing the plus button on the keyboard and mirror it. That is what I want it to face the other side so that I can join them together. This could be what's actually what's wanted. So that is for the shape tool. We are still here. I've only explained this. Now going to the smooth tool. So there are a whole lot of things you can do. The smooth, as the name implies, if you have a rough object edges and you want to smoothen it, that is when you can use what? The smooth tool. Now you click on the object, you want to smooth its edge, then you can see that I'm clicking is actually what? Smoothing what? The object line. But because the object line is smooth already, that is the reason why we are not really seeing the effects. So I can go back there and go to what? To this. So this one is another tool that can actually, when you click on the edge and you drag it in, it will be what? Dragging or attracting it inward, depending on what you want. So I could use this to have a shape that I want to use, maybe probably as a concept. So if I drag it out, it will shoot out. So depending on the direction. So this can form a shape. So when you see people with different design, it means that what? Their ability to use this tool. Now, the twirl is a powerful tool. When you click and hold down your left button on the edge, look at what it's going to do. So make sure that you are on the edge of the object, select the object, you see what it has generated now. So this could be a kind of style I want based on what I am designing. So most time when you are building certificate border line, you can use this to just form what? A border around your object layer. All right. So we have another tool there, attract and repair. So they are also used to create a shape on the object edge. So once you notice that it's not applying, you can see what I'm having here now. Look at the shape I've derived with that. So I'm just joining the one I've done before, and that is giving me what? Different what? Design entirely. So like I said, they are not really under the basic tool. So I can just move to the next one. Like I said, my focus is going to be on how important they are. So I want to focus on the basic tools so that it will not confuse you. Now, let me quickly talk about the crop tool, which is this. Now, I can have an object. I can have an object like this. So the crop tool is actually for extracting the portion of an object I wanted from the entire object. So for example, now for one reason, I want to crop out the whole of this, and then I want to use it as my shape. So once I have highlighted the area I want to crop out from this main object, then I click on crop. So I will only have the crop section. Now, if I import an image here, let's say you have a full image and you are asked to convert it to like a passport size. So I can use my import to bring an image to CorelDRAW. So let me go to where I have images. Let me see if I have picture here. We can have picture here. I should have some picture. Okay, so let's assume that you import this picture here. So once you are importing an image, this is how it's going to come. Then you click and drag to implement the image. Now let's assume that in my design, I only need this particular section. So all I need is to go to the crop tool and then highlight the area of that picture that I want. And then of course, click on your crop. So with that, I have been able to take what I want, and then I can place it here. That is depending on where you have your main design. All right, so that is for the crop tool. Then if you click on that same section, you will see knife tool. So what do I do with the knife tool? As the name implies, it's for cutting objects into different parts. And in graphic design, you don't just cut, you cut with the target of achieving the shape. Now let's assume that I have a circular object like this, and then I want to cut different parts from it, and probably give those different parts different color. So I can go to my knife tool, select the knife tool, and then start from the edge, and then keep dragging. Now you can see that as I am cutting, it's not cutting because I have to change it to the type I want. Right now is on 2-point line mode. It means that before it can cut, you must drag from one point to another before it can cut. Now, if I go to my pick tool and click outside, by the time you come back, let's see if we have cut that shape. We cut it, but because I did not get the edge very well, that is why the object is not separated. Now, going back to the knife tool, I change it to To free mode. So with free mode, all I need to do is to go around and get the shape I want. So as I click here, you wait for a moment until you are able to see the aspects you actually cut out. So go back to your pick tool. Let's see. Okay. It's not separating. I believe I've not used the right. Let me create another object. So it's for the tool to be able to locate the edge. So let me use auto close so that as I'm moving, it will close the edge for me since I'm not able to get the edge easily. So let me see. So you can see that I've been able to cut out this section. So I can go back again and say, okay, let's say I want to cut from here. Go back here and click. Okay, so I can't cut from there. So the idea is just for you to cut one object into different parts that can form the shape you are probably looking for. So I can use it as a background of my design. But mind you, you can see the challenges I face now, depending on the one you select, that will determine whether you can easily cut the object. Because I was having an issue of not getting the edge exactly. That was the reason why the other was not cutting. So I have this for deleting. So you can use this to highlight an object and then it will delete it automatically, not until. But if I highlight this object like this, because it remove the inside color and the frame is still there. So you can use it to delete your object, or you better select the object with the pick tool and press delete button. So we will now go for a 5-minute break, and then when we return, we'll continue with the journey of the tools explanation. If you have any question, you can ask.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful teaching. I too, I enjoyed it very well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you have any question, please, you can write it down in the chat section, and or you can speak. And if this particular if in any way the Zoom goes off, please always try as much as possible to rejoin on time and mute your microphone to allow us to hear what the teacher is saying. So we're expecting questions from you guys. If you're able to join very well, you understand, you know that the teaching is superb, and I expect questions. So if there is any way or anything that you don't understand, kindly let us know. We'll handle it now as you're waiting.
All right. Now I'm still on the CorelDRAW tools. I will just continue from where I stopped. Now we are still here. I don't know if I have, okay. So I'll start with the zoom tool. The zoom tool, as you can see, the shortcut is by pressing the Z button on your keyboard, and that will automatically activate it. What is the function of the zoom tool? The zoom tool, let's assume you have created your object, and the object is far from your view. Let's assume the object appears so small like this. As a graphic designer using CorelDRAW, you don't need to stress your eye trying to see the object. You can simply use the zoom tool by highlighting on the object, and then it will continue to increase the viewing size of the object. This has nothing to do with the printout size. This is just to enable you to see the objects. Now, so that is the work of the zoom tool. Like I said, once you click on it, it will add other associated functions that can be used to coordinate it. I think I've done that before. So you can click on this to continue reducing it. You can click here to continue increasing it. But you will notice that as soon as I click here, because I am not selecting the object, it's actually taking the object off from my view. If I click one more time, I will no longer find the object. When it happens like this, just click here and select to fit, and that will bring it back from the publication page. Or the best way to avoid the object going off your view, instead of you clicking outside, then make sure you are selecting the object. You are clicking on the object so that the object does not go from your view. So that is how to use the zoom tool. Now we move to the next tools. These tools are very important, particularly this and this. So let me start from freehand tool. The freehand tool is actually for creating line and for creating irregular shapes. So when I say irregular shapes, are shapes that have that are not basically defined. For example, now we know this shape to be a cycle. So this is not an irregular shape. This is a regular shape. So if I hold it down and I am moving, I can use it to sketch even human being. So all those artists, they can use CorelDRAW to draw human being. Then once you return to where you started from, it will automatically form a shape. Now, if that object is close, you will be able to give it color. You can see that for me to be able to give it color, it means that the object is close. Now, had I use it this way, halfway, without closing it, you shouldn't expect it to be filled with color, because this is line until the object is closed before it can give you a fill color. So you can use the freehand tool to design simple shape. For example, I can have this. Let's assume that this is my handbill, and then I have given it this color. Now I just want a space within this where I can actually advertise the discount I am giving. So I can come to the freehand tool and just quickly trace on that section. and then give it what? White. So I can type my discount by picking the A2 and then write. Now, if you are using the freehand tool without holding down the left button, it's going to give you what? Straight line. It's going to give you straight line. But it is only when you hold it down that it becomes what? Freehand. That is to be able to create the shape you want. But if you don't hold down the left button, you end up having just a line. So that is how to use the freehand tool. Okay. Now let me go to the next tool. The next tool is what? 3-point line. You can use this to just create what? 2-point line. Just click and hold it down, and then release your hand. That is 2-point line. Now, when you are working with line, let me show you some of the things you can do when you are working with line. I can add arrow to the line because I'm using this line for an illustration, maybe probably to point to a direction that you have to go to this direction. I can also use this to choose the other direction. Then I can click here to choose the line type. Then, of course, I can click here to increase the line thickness. That thickness is too much. The line thickness. Now, if I want to change the line color, then I will press F12. F12 on my button, my keyboard, and that will bring out what? A line property dialog box. Then I can choose the color I want and then click OK. Now, if I want this, let's assume that I want to break this line from this point so that this can face down instead of facing this direction. Then I have to go to my shape tool. And then from my shape tool, I will double click to add a node, and then I'll click here to change the direction. Now, if I want this section to be curved, then I will right click on the node and then change to what? Curve, and double click here, then you have end up what? Changing it. If I double click and move this down, this can give me this. And then I can regulate each axis with the what? The added node. So that is how to manipulate or how to work with the 2-point line tool. Now, going to the Bezier tool, which is one of the tools that I love so much. Just like the way I love the shape tool. Now, in CorelDRAW, when you are working, or not only in CorelDRAW, in any graphics app, always make sure that you take notice of those tools that gives you flexibility. Those tools that helps you to actualize your concept easily. Don't joke with them. Take time to work, to study them, and understand all the technicality around them. Now, this Bezier tool, for example, can be used to create what? Lines. I can use it to create what? Regular shapes. I can use it to do a lot of things. So let me start by using it to create lines. Now, there is what we call grid lines when you are working with shape. Now, let me delete everything here. Now, I want to add what we call like a cell worksheet. So I can go to my view, and then from my view, and then I come to grid, and then I select what? Document grid. Now, look at what I've done now. I have added a table. In other words, the reason why I did it is to help me to achieve something. I am tracing, I want to be able to trace a perfect square shape with the help of the Bezier tool. But I consider the fact that if I am using the Bezier tool on the plain publication page, it will be difficult for me to be able to get the perfect square. So that is why I have to activate what? Grid line. Now I go to the tool. So I will now be able to use the point to guide myself in order to have a perfect rectangle. Now I'll be tracing the point based on the shape I want. So I can say, okay, I want to take it this way. So from here, take it this way. And then close it here. Now you can see that even with this, I'm not still able to get it right. So what I'm going to do is to go back to my view to turn off the grid, the document grid, and that return me to my plain page. Now I will now drag the grid line from here just to perfect this shape. So I will snap the edge, and then I'll take another one here to perfect this as is, to snap this. I'll take another one here, perfect this, take another one here from the vertical ruler, snap this, and then take another one here, and then snap this. Now, I can now use my zoom tool to zoom this particular area that I want to focus on, and then I can click on the shape and go to my shape tool. Now, with the help of this, I can easily move it to correct this error. Now, but because of the percentage I'm using, I'm unable to get that shape easily. So when you are having this kind of issue, what do? Zoom that edge very well. Zoom it, then go back to the shape tool, then drag now smoothly. You will now be able to get exactly the point. Then I can go back to my zoom, and then the right click to zoom out, and then target another point. Target another point. You will notice that is not lapping. So I go back to my shape tool, and then drag the same thing I did, and then target that intersection. And then go back to your zoom tool, or you click here and select to fit. But to fit is too small, so and just increase it, and then target this point to correct it. Now, to correct this point, I need to establish another vertical line. From my ruler here, I take another line, then I point it here, and then go back to my zoom it out, then go to the shape tool, then click, and then target it. So with that, I cannot still get it. Let me zoom one more time, and then go back to your shape tool. Then there is another point I need to perfect, so I'll go back. Then let me perfect this particular point, and then go back to my shape tool, and then drag. Good. So with this, I think I'm good to go with the objects. Good to go with the objects. So let me zoom to this. Or let's say this, or this is too small. Let me use this, or this. Or I can do it manually by left clicking and right clicking. Now, let's assume that as you are zooming, you will notice that at some point, I want to see this edge, but I'm not seeing it. Just press H on the keyboard. That will switch to hand sign. So you can drag it in for you to be able to view any side you want to view. So with this, I still have this particular point to correct. So I go back to my my zoom. I'll press Z to switch back to my zoom tool, and then continue zooming to the edge. Then after that, I'll press F10 to switch back to my shape tool. F10, I'm in my shape tool now, so I can now drag and put it here. So remember, F3 is to zoom out. As you continue pressing it to zoom out, F4 is to to zoom in, or go back to to the zoom tool. Then H to activate your hand tool in order for you to turn it the way you want it. So that is for the Bezier tool. Now, with the Bezier tool, I was able to create this shape. Now, I'm still on the Bezier tool. Like I said, is one of my best tools. Now, if I want to create shape with the Bezier tool, where I actually want curve section, because if you check this shape now, there are no curve section. I only have sharp edges. Let's assume that as I was using it, when I get to this point, I want it to be curved. And then I take a straight line here. When I get here, I get a curve. Take a straight line here. When I get here, I get a curve. So how do I do that? Now, You click. Now, just before you establish another point, hold down the left button and drag. You can see that I'm having a curve section now. Now, if I want straight line, I will just click without dragging. Now, I'm taking another axis, hold it down to half curve. So I'll keep holding it down to half curve, depending on what I want. So when I'm done, I have to close it in order for me to what? To be able to give it inside color. So like I said, you can press plus to duplicate it, then reduce it uniformly in order to have a smaller shape inside. That is if you want. So you can give it color and that will give you another shape. But that is not what I want. So that is for the Bezier tool. In other words, you can use it to get a line. I can just say, okay, with the Bezier tool, all I need is just a straight line, not even curve section. I want to establish a line here. So I will just pick it, then click on this point, and then tap here. You have just established a line, but the line is not straight. So what you need to do, Z to zoom, and then check the axis very well. Then your F10 to switch back to your shape tool, and then align it properly. So with that, you have achieved that. So ladies and gentlemen, that is for the Bezier tool. Now let me go to the next tool here. The pen tool. The pen tool can also achieve almost the same thing you did with Bezier tool. So it becomes an option that you can use in the place of Bezier. So as a designer, you have to consider the one you prefer. Now, the reason why at times I prefer the pen tool is that if I'm using the Bezier tool, after clicking a point, I don't know whether the line is straight until I click, before I get to know that the line is not straight. So, but in the case of pen tool, if you are using the pen tool, once you establish the point, you will see the line that will guide you to know whether it's straight. You can hold down the control button, or what you should do in this case, establish your points. So let me delete this object. So now I have established my point. So with the help of this, if I want a line here, I'll point here and then take this. So you can see the advantage of this is that I can see this the grid line, the object snap line, while I am tracing the object. Unlike the Bezier tool, that I will not see until I have ended or I've clicked on the next point. Now, just like the way I was able to use the Bezier tool to create objects with curve section, I can also use the pen tool. What it means is that once you have registered the first point, before you register the second point, hold the button down, and then just keep holding it down, and then twist your hand to get the shape you're actually looking for. So I can move and then click. If you don't want curve, just be clicking. If you don't want curve, just be clicking. Then if you want to give it inside color, you must always come back to where you started from. So that is how to use the pen tool and the Bezier tool. Now coming to the base spline, the B spline tool. The B spline tool is also used for creating irregular shapes, depending on what you want. So I can just click here and then click. You can see it is giving you the curve without holding down the button, the left. So with this, I can easily form a shape. So with this, I have formed this shape. So you can see that if I don't want to be holding down the left button before I can have curve section, you can simply use what? The B spline tool to achieve that. Then the next one is polyline. Polyline can also be used in the place of the Bezier tool or the pen tool. So you can click also, but once you hold it down, it will allow you to sketch. That is if you hold down the left button. Okay, somebody have question. All right. So your question, please. Favor, go ahead with your question. Person that wants to ask question, please ask your question. Or should I assume it was a mistake? Okay.
I think it's a mistake, sir.
Okay. All right. So let me just quickly touch some important tools. So I've touched the major tools. You notice that while I was working, I was pressing H in order to switch to hand tool. So you can see you can activate it directly from the toolbox and then use it to book your entire publication page, including your design and the printable area. Control N to add another page. I want to show us something. Now, when I started, I described the whole of this as the printable area, where you can access your printable item. Now, supposing you have a design here, your pick tool can only move this shape. You cannot use pick tool to move both the object and the printable area. To do that, that is what you do with the hand tool. So the hand tool will move everything, both the printable area and the entire object you have designed. So of course, this is for creating cycle, which I've been using. This is for creating cycle. So this is for creating cycle. Then this is for creating polygon. So there are other subwords, polygon shape you can get. Polygons are usually identified by the number of sides. So I can just click here. And then when I'm using the polygon tool, don't forget, as soon as I activate it, check what came out from the property bar. So meaning that by default, the polygon tool is already programmed to give us what? 5 sides. Now, after I have created it, if I want to update it, that is, I want to change it, then I can modify that here. So it's not increasing the number of sides. If I want to modify the line thickness, I can do that. Then, for example, I want to convert this polygon to give me a different shape. I can click on the node and drag it inside. That automatically will give you what? A shape that you can actually use to advertise the discount you are giving on your design. So that is how to use the polygon tool. So if I want to draw a triangle, I can easily get it with my polygon. So once I select it, I will just change here to 3. Change here to what? 3. And then I draw. So this is a triangle. So you don't need to do all those things I was doing, trying to convert a rectangle to what? A triangle. So you can quickly what? Define that with the polygon tool. So still on that, I have star tool. So instead of converting your polygon to this, so there is a dedicated tool for creating star. So the moment you activate it, by default, it will give you just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can modify it here, the number of sides you want. Then you can set the distance here. I can reduce it, and that will give me what I want. So if I increase the number of sides now, it will give me a better shape. So you must have seen some design where they use this. Somebody can just come here and create a cycle inside in order to give that particular section different color. Let's say this, and then you write on it. Even in some certificates, talking about the seed section, you can get that with this sheet. Now, if you want to write, okay, let me still explain this set of tools. Go to Spiral. The Spiral tool is for creating a kind of folded lines. So if I click on it, look at what I have here. But I would like to relate it with if I am designing. Let's assume that I have this shape here. And then I give you this color. Then I don't want the background to be plain color. So I can just do some artwork on it with the help of my Spiral tool. Now I can transparent this. That is what I don't want it to be obvious. Well, let me increase the number first. I go back to this. I can increase the number of curves that I want. Let's say this before I create, so I will have more compacted folded lines. So I would like to use the one I just created now. So reduce it. I have the design. And then you cannot give it color because it's a line. It's not an enclosed object. So how do I, supposing I want the color, the spiral line to have, let's say, white. Because white on this will give me a better structure. Just press F12. F12 will bring you here, and that will allow you to probably change the color. Like I said, you can use the eyedropper. I want to pick white, but I cannot easily find the white here. I can use the eyedropper to pick the white from here automatically. It will output it. Then I can also enhance the thickness of that line. By the time I click OK, look at what I have now. Now I can select this object and come to this tool, which is called what? Transparent, and then transparent this object on it. So look at what I've got to now. So I can use this and even select this. I just want like a ray of light to come out from that object, as if you are pointing a torch from the back. So depending on what you want. Now I want to write. You click on this and then you type. Let's say I want to write prosper. And then you can change the color, take it where you want to put it, then zoom the object, particularly the section you are working on. There is no point of zooming everything because you are not working on all the objects. That particular section you are working on, zoom it so that I can come closer to you. Now, I can press that same F12 and give the text different what? Line color. So I can say, okay, I want it to have, let's say, this. I can pick this particular section, and then the line thickness of that text, you can click here, and then I have a design. So there are many ways I can achieve this. So if I want to off the line color that I just apply now and show you another way I can achieve that line color in a professional way, just select none, and then I've turned it off. Now press plus. You have duplicated the prosper. Now I have prosper, so I can give it this color, then blend it, place it on top. That has given you what? Try and have a feeling of the what? The back color. So I can go back and select the white one based on my color combination. I can have the black. So the black will make it look as if you have drilled hole inside what? The text. So there are so many creative work you can do with Coreldraw. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where I draw the curtain today on Coreldraw. If you have any question, then you ask.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. That was a bomb. Thank you very much, very much. Thank you very much. I hope we all learned a lot today. I hope we all learned a lot. So thank you, Mr. Apostle, for that wonderful teaching. So please, if there is any one of us that I need to be cleared of something, it's time for you to do that now. We can help you right now. Ask your questions, go back to the chat section and type the question there. Speak. I believe we all enjoyed the class. If there is anything that is not clear to you, please, it's time for you to ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Ogochi. We can hear you.
Please, I want to ask this last part. He said the one he talked about. He did a role inside, and there was a reflection of light, like in sun. I didn't get that part very well. Please, can he repeat?
Okay, let me put all the questions. I answer them at once. So your question is ready.
Okay.
Anybody else? Please, we'll wait. Any other question?
All right.
You can chat.
So let me quickly attend to that question. And
Okay.
please, before I attend to the question, take note of the following announcements, just to give us an update. We have another class for this. This class is actually to give us a background, just like what we have been doing. And then there will be another master class. When I said master class, what we are going to be focusing on in that class will be the application of Coreldraw. So we are going to be designing, not just explaining tools. So what I'm doing today is just to give us a picture, just to explain the tools, so that when we eventually join that class, then we are already familiar with the tools. And then for those of us that does not have Coreldraw installed in their system, kindly look for the nearest engineer shop and get it installed. So that, because in that class, it's going to be workshop, we are going to be working together. So once I design, I'll give us some time to design, and then you show me what you have done so far. So it's going to be a practical-based application of Coreldraw, but that same class, we are going to include Photoshop. It's not going to be just Coreldraw, because there are a lot of design at times that you have to involve Photoshop together with Coreldraw for you to have certain professional design. So I encourage every one of us to join that class. But that class is not free. You are going to pay to join that class for us to be able to maintain the platform. So please, we encourage you to join that class. And I can tell you, do I still have Hosseini here?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, so the young man.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Good. So Mr. Hosseini is from Lagos. So he was supposed to take us today on this. So I just have to, based on some technical issue, or probably light issue, which is beyond his control. So he appealed I should cover for him. I can assure you that me and him will take care of that class. We'll be taking it side by side. So I won't be the only one to teach you. He's a professional. He's one of us. So we also have a part to play in that class. So I have given us the foundation, and then we encourage you to join the paid class so that you can enjoy Coreldraw. Like I told you earlier on, we cannot overemphasize the role of Coreldraw and Photoshop. Not just that, the world of graphics. The world of graphics is actually growing, because these days people communicate with shapes than like word. So please, I will encourage us to join that class. The updates will be out soon, probably before tomorrow, to decide on the cost, what it will cost an individual to attend that class. And for those that have attended the pay class, you saw how we did it. Initially, we planned it for a single meeting, but now we have used about 2 different meetings, but we have not really finished it. So even if we could not finish what we planned to do, we will extend the class. So our platform is not like other platforms whereby when you pay, whatever they cover that day, and then that is what you go with. So we will let you know what we want to give to you. And until we cover those topics, we will not call it a day. So that is Digitech Z for you. Okay, so now I go to the question the person asks, how I got this reflection. So let me Control N to add another word. New page. And then what I did is I created the first layout and then added this color. And then I went to my spiral tool. The first thing I did, I updated the number of what curve I want. And then you open it up on the object. Then the next thing is to change the line to white. I press F12 to display line properties. And then I change the color from here to white. So instead of me picking here, which might not be exactly white, and the background of the page is white already, so I use my eyedropper to select the white.